As we have come to expect, Canada's institutions have only become more and more pathetic over time, with arguably the most damage being dealt against Canada's criminal justice system. This being done both by the federal Liberal government under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, which keeps passing legislation to lower penalties for violent crimes as well as property crimes, and enforcing things like same day automatic release, where it doesn't matter what you do and how many crimes you've committed before, the standard is to let people out of prison unless prosecutors want to bend over backwards, proving that an obvious repeat offender was going to repeat his offense if he's let out. But a lot of other stuff has been done on our local levels, from cities like Vancouver decriminalizing drugs and also the different safe supply programs. And then we had just a couple months ago Montreal police coming out and shaming people for posting videos of porch pirates snatching Amazon packages off of people's doorsteps. They saw that as somehow being a violation of the privacy of the person stealing your stuff, because we technically haven't convicted them yet of the crime of stealing something right off your doorstep. As if you, the person who had their object stolen, doesn't know that that person is a perpetrator. The police are pretending like, well, maybe they had a good reason to steal your property. We don't know that they're not the victim yet. And this is just how crazy Canada's criminal justice system has gotten. And now today, I have a video clip from City News where the Toronto police tell people to make it easier to steal their cars to prevent violence from occurring. Basically, just give in to the criminals, make their jobs easier, because don't you know, worse things could happen if you don't give in to the criminal. I'll play this, it's quite insane.
First, through our community partners.
There's also updated advice for all vehicle owners, a message echoed by Toronto Police speaking at an Etobicoke safety meeting last month. Constable Marco Ricciardi had a new message for vehicle owners who keep their fobs in Faraday pouches.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door, because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
That's why Galinsky says they will be installing the doorstops. And
yeah, like I agree with them installing these doorstops. They go on about it makes it harder for people to like kick in your doors. But how pathetic is that? That our criminal justice system, the police constables are coming out and basically just saying, "Yeah, just give your key fobs to the criminal. You maybe just take it out of the Faraday pouch so they can just boost your car without having to steal the key." Like in Faraday pouches, if you don't know, there's those things that you put your key fobs in or other devices so that people can't steal the signal, because some criminals will break into the car and they'll have signal boosters. So even though your key fob to start the car is in the house somewhere, they are able to still grab that signal to start the car, to drive it away and, strip it for parts and whatnot. I just hate the fact that now police, because in a certain sense, they're just not allowed to do their jobs, both by the federal Liberal government as well as pathetic local officials who, let's just be clear, are frankly communists. That's why these people don't care that you're having your car stolen, because, well, haven't you thought of the criminal? They're financially deprived, and that's why in organized gangs, they're stealing your property from you. I hate this crap that people go on about, well, it's just property. Don't fight for your property. No one should get hurt over property. Criminals should get hurt if they try and steal your property. But in Canada, you will get a same-day automatic release if you don't steal over like $10,000 in one instance. So we have these gangs of people who have probably been arrested before and then released the exact same day, running around and stealing people's cars. And in response to this, the local governments and the federal government are not trying to increase funding to police, have more police patrols around, try and hold people in prison longer, actually increasing punishments in line with the propensity that people are actually committing offenses. No, we're telling people, well, you don't get yourself hurt. Just put your key fob right at the front door, put a little note on it, and maybe package some cookies and a hot chocolate right next to it too, because that will make the criminal feel better. This is why, and I know a lot of people wouldn't want to hear it in Canada because it is considered a very American thing to say, this is why more people should be able to own guns. I feel like criminals should be terrified to go into your house to grab your keys. And the reason that a lot of these people are carrying weapons on them is because they don't think that the police are going to actually arrest them. That's why they're carrying around handguns, because in Bill C-5, the Liberals lowered penalties for carrying illegal handguns on you. I wish more law-abiding citizens would have guns on them so that these scumbags wouldn't come into people's homes. But no, that's cruel. That's not treating all criminals like Aladdin. Like, I always like using that term. It's from a YouTuber I really like. I suggest you all subscribe to, Actual Justice Warrior, that the left sees all criminals as Aladdin. That they're not stealing your property. They're not beating people up because they are scumbag criminals who want your stuff for free because they don't want to go and earn it themselves because they're horrible people. They're actually just all Aladdin. They need to steal your Kia because they need to feed it to their hungry family. They're stealing televisions because they need to feed it to their hungry family. They're knocking over liquor stores because, don't you know, poverty is a big issue. I did my master's degree report on crime in the city of Toronto. There are neighborhoods that have higher levels of poverty or even lower median incomes than other neighborhoods, and they have no crime. It's because they have social values. It's because they have two-parent households. It's because they have a high rate of education. Other places where there's a lot more scumbags tend to have very weak families and they have very low education levels. That's what we should be focusing on: arresting criminals, holding them in prison, and trying to root out the bad social values in certain neighborhoods that are leading people to go around stealing people's cars and then blaming it on society when they're caught, as if it's somehow my fault for not having given them a car in the first place. Anyways, rant over. I'm going to wrap this up, but like I always do in these videos, I just quickly want to plug the fact that I, Wyatt Claypool, I'm running for the Calgary Signal Hill Conservative Party nomination. If you live on the west side of Calgary, check if you live in the riding. These are what the new riding boundaries are going to look like after April. So if you live in this area, buy a Conservative Party federal membership and check out my website in the description below. It's wyattclaypool.com. Or you can also donate to mine and the National Telegraph's legal fund. We have this ridiculous billionaire developer trying to sue us over nonsense defamation. We literally had a guest writer just simply mention him in an article about Aaron O'Toole donors and referenced a Globe and Mail article written about him, a long investigative piece written about him. We said basically nothing new about this guy other than the fact that he was maxing out a donation to Aaron O'Toole's leadership campaign in 2020. And so supposedly we defamed him for quoting reporting that had been out about him for a year and a half, and evidently he never sued the Globe and Mail for reporting all this stuff about him, but he's going to try and sue me because I'm 21 at the time that the lawsuit started, and maybe he can intimidate me into giving him a nonsense apology so he can pretend everything ever bad said about him is just defamatory lies, even though he's not going after Robert Fife and Stephen Chase for having written the original report on him, showing him that he actually used to serve on CCP boards back in China and all this stuff, because, you know, that's defamatory, that's racist. You literally alleged that we were racist in our libel notice, and then he quickly backed off of that because our co-editor at the time was Filipino and answered them back, and they got all awkward that they're now accusing us of racism. Anyways, rant over also about my lawsuits, whatever. But if you can contribute anything, it really helps us take the financial burden off of us. We paid more than $26,000 into defending ourselves. And obviously, if we had more money on us, we could, one, shoulder that burden better and invest more into the National Telegraph. Anyways, see you guys later.